Hi all, we are back in the man cave of an acting teacher for another video. It's another lovely day. I've just been working with a student there, so I thought while I'm in the man cave I'll do my daily video for you, my daily chat about acting. I'm glad you're enjoying them. I'm glad you're taking 10-15 minutes to think about your craft. So today we're going to talk about how to start a scene or a monologue, all right? Seems like a fairly simple thing, right? So this isn't how to get started in the business. I did that one way back, right? I think it was video 3 or 4 or something, maybe 5. So you can look back at that. This is about what do I do at the beginning? Okay, so imagine that you're doing a self-tape or an audition or any performance, or you're actually on set. You've got the gig and you're on set. What do I do right at the very start? Now, as I've said in previous videos, there's lots of distractions around the place, okay? And sometimes those distractions are imposed upon us by our environment, okay? There's cameras everywhere and there's people doing your makeup and whatever the case may be. Or with theatre, obviously, there's an audience of 300 or 400 people turning up, and I'm in the dressing room and I've got to get my makeup right and I've got to get my costume on and all of that kind of stuff. And we've got all of these distractions and we're thinking about ourselves a lot, right? As I've already said, again, in previous videos, that your acting technique is designed to stop you from being self-conscious. It's designed, every component of it pretty much, is designed to stop you from focusing on your own crisis as an actor, your own kind of, I suppose, needs as an actor, and help you to focus on your character and the action of the play, or the scene, or the monologue, all right? And so once you've applied that technique, what you'll find is that one or the other of the components of the technique, right, one or the other of those 25 really useful boxes that you tick when you learn the technique, one of them will really resonate more than others. One of them will really feel like it brings you into the scene, perhaps more than other ones. You might have 1 or 2 of those, right? Now, all of them will have helped along the way, okay? But 1 or 2 of them will just make you go, oh, yeah, I really feel like I'm this person when I take a moment to focus on that particular component. So it could be your layering of the character, you know, the archetype and antithesis, could be your dual objectives that are causing your internal contradictions, your internal struggle. One thing or another might, you know, be the thing that brings you in, right? Sometimes these things can be very imaginative things, like an object, a wedding ring or a necklace, or something that belongs to the character that really makes you feel like you are them. It could be a little trinket or a bit of costume, you know, the big fake beard that gets put on you if you're in Vikings that makes you feel like a Viking or whatever it is, and it looks so damn real that you actually look in the mirror and think, my God, I'm a Viking. You know, whatever the case may be. There'll be something that inspires you into the scene that you can focus on, and you just need to whittle it down to just 1 or 2 things, okay? Because you will never, well, unless you are a genius of some sort, you'll never be able to focus on all 25 of the components of the technique while you're actually acting. And the thing is, nor should you. Okay, I said unless you're a genius, you wouldn't even be a genius if you tried to, because once you've done all that work on the script, you've applied the technique to the script, right? Then you'll get to a point, you know, at the advanced stages where you cut the cord on that technique, you let that go, you act with total abandon, and you are supposed to not be focusing on one or the other components of the technique because they've gone in, they've become subconscious in you while you're actually playing the role, okay? So let's say you've applied all your components of your technique to the script, right? Let's imagine, for the argument's sake, that it's a self-tape, okay? So you've got a self-tape from, you know, a casting director, Louise Kiley or Maureen Hughes or somebody like that, and they've said to you, okay, send it on, right? You've done all of the tricky stuff that I talked about in another previous video, which was to do with self-taping, okay? You've got your light right, you've got your sound right, you've got your reader opposite you in the right place and all that. I won't go into that because I've talked about it all before. And then you've got all these things, again, that are distractions to you doing your job of being the actor. You've solved those, okay, in the best way that you can. You've applied your technique to your script, you've learnt your lines like the alphabet, right? And then it's time to act. Okay, so what do you do? What do you start with? Like I say, you focus on just one or two components of the technique that really resonated with you when you did your homework. Okay? It could be one of the simple things like the objective. Oh, I feel this force when I look up and I have to get that girl to go out on the date with me. Or I have to get that guy to agree to rob the bank with me. Or whatever the objective is, and that might be it. Okay? It could be, again, like I say, a little physical thing, a ring or a necklace or something that makes you feel like them, or a beard or something that makes you feel like you are that person. It could be, archetype and antithesis. It could be split objectives, dual objectives. It could be any of them, right? What we call these are anchors and triggers, okay? I've just got a beautiful little dog looking at me through the glass there. Sorry, he distracted me. We call these anchors and triggers. Now, an anchor is something that anchors you into the given circumstances of the scene, okay? So it makes you feel like you are that person in that place, who I am and where I am. Could be a bit of costume that you're wearing, a bit of jewelry that you're wearing, an image and a piece of extended imagery that you've created for yourself that's to do with the scene. If the scene is, the character is remembering their dead father, you've created an image of the character's dead father, and that's going to be the thing that really brings you into the scene, right? So the anchor is something that makes you feel like you are that person, all right, in that place. Even if it's just a screen test and you're sitting on a chair in front of a blank wall behind you, which doesn't help, right? But of course, nor would it be that way if it was an audition in a studio anyway, right? But it's something that can make you feel, yeah, I'm here now. The planes in the distance that you refer to, in the scene, for example. It depends on the scene, obviously. So that's your anchor. The anchor anchors you into who you are and where you are in the scene, and then you've got what's called a trigger. And the trigger is something that triggers feelings that seem real, as Stanislavski called it, or sensations. That could well be the memory or the image of a dead father, or it could be, opposite you if you're using endowment, the beautiful pearl earring on the girl that you're in love with in the scene, or is anything, something that actually triggers a feeling, yeah? And you can be creative with that, right? Really, find for yourself something that makes you feel the love or the disappointment or the rage or whatever that thing is that is there. You're not faking that feeling. It's something, again, that you've discovered during rehearsals that happens to you when you're playing the scene because you've done the homework, right? And you're taking that thing and saying, okay, that triggers sensations. If your character's, had a marriage breakdown, for example, right? And your wife or husband has had an affair and you've still got the wedding ring on, that could maybe make you feel, there goes that, or whatever the feeling is that's going on. Okay, so that's your anchor, right? And your trigger. Like I say, again, with all of this, it's up to you to be creative. And I'll just use a really interesting little example that I often talk about in class. In one of the applied art of acting terms, some years ago now, it must have been six years ago possibly, there was a wonderful actor in the class. I won't say his name just in case he doesn't want me to mention him, right? He was playing a scene where he was an IRA prisoner, right, in the Kesh, and he didn't do it. Right? I mean, he literally actually didn't do it, right? And his lawyer comes to him and says, look, I know you didn't do it, but you confess to this, right? You confess, and I think he drove a getaway car or something like this, right? And he can't be honest. He can't say to her, yeah, you're right, and I'm going to stand up in court and defend myself because these guys in the IRA will kill him, right? And he has a wife and a child, and if he's stuck in jail, they'll get them, all right? So he's in a pickle, even though he's innocent, he has to say that he's guilty, otherwise, his family is at stake. So he's trapped. Not only is he trapped in prison, he's trapped in his circumstances, okay? This is from a play. I can't even remember the name of the play. I think it was a David Hare play, but I can't recall. Anyway, he's in the prison. His lawyer comes to visit him. That's where the scene is played out when he's talking to his lawyer. And he performed the scene one day in the most amazing, beautiful way. And I was like, what happened? What did you do to make that so interesting? I said, what was your anchor? What was your trigger? Tell me about this. What was your process, right? And he said, I look out the window, right? And out the window, I see cars in the car park coming and going. So it wasn't his jail cell that was his anchor or his trigger. It wasn't the image of his wife or child. It wasn't the image of the men who will kill his family if he rats on them, right? Or tries to get out of this. It's actually a car park where cars come and go, and he looks out the window of the interrogation room and he sees the cars coming and going. And it brings him to that place and triggers this incredibly complex sensation, much more complex than a singular emotion, a sensation, okay? Really easy way to start, blocks out all of the other worries. It makes you feel like you're there. It makes you feel sensations that are entirely to do with the character, and then you play that scene. Try not to let anything else come back in. If it does, just return your mind like a transcendental meditation mantra. Just bring your mind back to that anchor and that trigger. That'll keep you strong in that scene. It'll be lovely and believable and unself-conscious and not performed in some kind of contrived way. So that's the anchor and the trigger idea. Play with it for yourself and have a bit of a go. Of course, I can teach you about this, right? I can guide you through how to create these yourself. And to broaden your imagination in the use of these as well. The other one that's an interesting one to think about just before I finish up is hope and assumption. Okay, so if you imagine for yourself that you in life are going into a meeting with the boss, you hope it'll be good news. You assume there's nothing wrong, right? Then you get in there and you find that there's something is, right? So instead of starting the scene with nothing, or instead of starting the scene with some other distraction going on, as in life, when we're about to go and talk to somebody, you're assuming the opposite of what's going to happen in the scene itself. So when Hamlet goes to see Ophelia, okay, he assumes he's going to get a lovely kiss and a hug and possibly sympathy for the death of his father and romance and whatever else, and instead she hands back his love letters. But you can't start with she hands back my love letters before she has, because that's preempting the scene. You know, it gives the game away, right? But if Hamlet's hoping or assuming, just assuming that she's going to be lovely as always, and she's not, feelings, okay, will hit you when the disappointment or whatever it is kicks in. Try them for yourself as well. So you can do this at the beginning of a scene. You can do it at the beginning of a monologue. Again, if you'd like me to train you in it, let me know, okay? I hope you're doing okay. Go and enjoy the lovely sunshine. Please keep supporting your self-employed friends. We are in an extended lockdown now. Those people who cannot work because of their assembly-based employment, you know, yoga teachers, music teachers, singing teachers, choirs, all of those things, all those classes that we do together, you know, one-to-one, not, you know, in groups, physically. Support those people if you can. If you have the ways and means, you people have a great day, and I will talk to you with another video tomorrow. Bye.